how OCD traps you just a few seconds later past something that didn't even feel like a trigger. Okay, you're going about your life. You think, I'm doing all right. I'm having no problems. I feel completely calm. Maybe somebody brushes past you and you're a bit angry because they do it inconsiderate of you being there. And you feel an urge to maybe hit them. You feel an urge that you might not want because maybe OCD is creating taboo thoughts or anything like that, that it's trying to create something to lock on, right? But you're still not triggered. You're like, okay. Then the person goes away. Then suddenly you get a message and it's like your work or something. And they say, oh, by the way, just want to let you know, you can have the day off on Saturday or Friday or whatever, right? And then suddenly your brain, even without you knowing that that's what you're doing, your brain is like, oh, that's great. I've got a day off. I'm looking forward to going to the park to have an ice cream, right? And OCD goes, no, I'm going to latch now on that thing that just happened. Repeat the whole time, every second, destroy that. And maybe I'll repeat forever. And this will be the one time you'll never get out of it. And that's what it does. Like, think of OCD as like being, and be cautious here when I use the word sensitive, okay? Because when you use the word sensitive, people are like, that means that I have some kind of weakness. No, I'm talking about, like, say a sensitivity in the brain. Like, let's give an example, right? Somebody might be sensitive to muscle growth, where the muscle fibers grow a lot better as a response to weight training, right? So the muscle is more sensitive in some way to that stimulus, okay? And then that creates more growth of the muscle, right? Or they may be more sensitive through an allergy to peanuts, not hugely an allergic reaction, but just maybe a slightly itchy throat or whatever, right? That you would regard as sensitivity, but you wouldn't think of that as a weakness, right? You would think, that is just a biological sensitivity that's not me. But because OCD is operating in the brain, and obviously we see ourselves as sort of like 1 inch behind our nose as like the self, where we tend to sort of see ourselves, we then think, this is weakness. We've done this. We are so weak. We've allowed this to happen, right? That's not reality, okay? Your brain could have a sensitivity to a stimulus relating to feared scenarios, the unknown, the uncertainty, that heightened anxiety response, just a sensitivity in there. You might have that in that area, but nothing else. OCD sufferers can ride on roller coasters, be in the military, be in dangerous situations. I speak to people all the time that have these situations. I spoke to about 2-3 cops in the last 6 months, and they were like, I've got such bad ROCD, I've got such bad HOCD, whatever. And I say, what's your life been like? I work in the Bronx. I work in some really dangerous part of LA, or some more dangerous part of London, or some dangerous part of South America. And I say, what do you think about that? Oh, Rob, yeah, I've been shot at. Someone tried to stab me. I said, did you get anxious about it? Not really. It's just part of the job. Right. So if you're going to say sensitivity to all feared scenarios, they'd be chronically anxious from there. Not that, but they're not. Because the sensitivity is to certain things. Someone like Nick, for example, doesn't have any harm OCD, doesn't have any sexual intrusive thoughts related to OCD, right? That's not how his OCD latched. He doesn't get any of that. His is just towards breathing and saliva, right? But why, Rob? Why has it picked that? It doesn't matter why it's picked that. It's different in everyone. It's like saying why someone got an allergy to peanuts and not got an allergy to apples, right? And we always want the thing that we haven't got. I'm sure people with allergies do the same. If I didn't have that one, that's in so much food, then I'd be all right. But you've just got that one. That's it. You've got to deal with that situation, unfortunately. Same with OCD. People go, if only I had that theme. No, you've got that theme. That's your theme. You've got to deal with that. That's your fact of life. You've got to deal with that. When I used to catch myself, right, going, if only I had this one or I didn't have that one, right? One day I was sitting on my balcony. I looked up at the moon. And I thought, I'd never think in my head, can I move the moon a bit to the left just by thinking it? So why on earth would I think, can I move the way OCD is latched in my head? Because that's the nature of the disorder. Once I started thinking like that, I gave up all that compulsive cycles. People want to believe things. There's a big difference between want to believe and what works. How many people with OCD want to believe if I just leave it there and go on away in my life, it will go away? It won't. It usually won't. Yes, you may get more comfortable with it and not do too much work with it, and it may fade down a bit. Yes, in some cases. But usually in chronic severe OCD, it's going to wax and wane. And if you actually ask the person across a period of 10, 20 years, they'd say they've been at about 50 to 60, 70, 80, 90% anxiety on and off, right? Or just latched on. For me, it was like 90% anxiety, 24/7, no release. Now, if I hadn't worked on recovery, what do you think I think? Well, not what do you think I think, but what do I think my outcome would have been like? I'll tell you straight. I have zero doubt at all I would still be stuck today 24/7 in my head. I would guess that I would probably be at about 80, 90% anxiety or somewhere around 60 to 80, right? Do I think that would have lasted every day for the rest of my life? Yeah, more or less. Do I think that would have gone away on its own? Absolutely not. So do I think my life would have been very, very hard? Yes. Would I have picked most other things over having that situation? Yes. How did people in the past live? Like that. What, so you're telling me people in like the Victorian era with severe chronic OCD, their whole life was anxious till the day they died? Pretty much. So that sounds like a hell, Rob. It was. So we should be so grateful and work on recovery today. Absolutely. Seize the moment. People don't. Why? Because they think, oh, I'll see how it is next week. I'm too busy right now. I want to watch this Netflix show. I think I'm going to go to a festival. You are so damn lucky. I can't highlight it enough. Even if I shout it, people will just scroll over it and go, oh, I think I've got something else to do. People would have done anything to have your opportunity. Anything. I just mentioned Victorian era. Go back. Next era, next era, next era. Ever since chronic OCD, severe OCD was a thing, no hope. That's a fact. People don't tell it to you like that because why? Because they want to do everything lightly and say, oh no, that's okay, that's fine. Yes, and we do that too. Yes, if you work on recovery, don't have to be frightened. You're working on things gradually, bit by bit, things should improve, right? That's true. But if I do not highlight it this much, everything is so wishy-washy online. Everything is so comfortable online. Everything is so done in such a way that everyone feels nice and safe. But that's not waking them up. You need to wake up to the reality that you got a lot of your life left probably. You want to really make it great. You want to really have that life that you want. You got to work on recovery, right? I can see straight away why someone's stuck. Right, they're stuck on this, they need to dispute beliefs, they need to do exposures here, they need to work on perspectives here. Consistently. I can't highlight this enough. Take it as a wake-up call.